Hi everybody, how are you all doing? Welcome to the next episode of Sydney Social Life. I hope you've all had a lovely Sunday so far. As you all know, I typically begin by telling you a little bit about what this show is all about. So Sydney Social Life is a thought-provoking, one-of-its-kind talk show where we put the spotlight on the harsh, hidden realities of modern-day social circles. Why do I say hidden realities? Because these are issues that a lot of people are struggling with, but no one is talking about them, except us here at Sydney Social Life. So the purpose of this show is to promote important conversations, promote positivity, and to foster a community that is accepting and non-judgmental. Now, as you all know, each week I have a very special guest who joins me on the show, and guess who we have here today? The one and only Reena Jethi. Drum roll! Reena, thank you so much for joining us here today on Sydney Social Live. We are super excited. I'm just trying to get the angle right. Am I okay? Or you want to come into the screen a little bit? That's better.
How's that?
That's better.
Fantastic.
So Reena, thank you so much for being here today. How do you feel?
Oh, I'm very excited and very delighted to be here with your company, Nim, and having a cuppa with you. What better?
Chai pe charcha.
क्या करें?
है ना?
Coffee से better चाय और आपके साथ चाय उससे भी better.
I think when you have the right company, everything, the coffee tastes better, the chai tastes better, so that's fabulous. Well, you all know that we start with a brief introduction, and when you try to introduce somebody like Reena, who wears many hats, who has achieved so many laurels in her life so far, it becomes a little challenging for a talk show host. But I'm always up for a challenge, Reena, so let's give it a go. Alright, so Councillor Reena Jethi, a second-term councillor in the Hills Shire Council, migrated to Australia in the year 2000. She worked as a high school teacher for nearly 15 years in Sydney. An entrepreneur by profession, Councillor Reena Jethi is CEO of Revolves, keeping your valuables safe. Recognized by Minister for Women, Reena Jethi is known for her strong views on women's empowerment, open spaces for children, and the role of education in our lives. Reena has also been the Deputy Mayor of the Hills Shire Council. Wow.
You actually forgot to say overqualified and underpaid chauffeur for my two boys.
Overqualified and an underpaid chauffeur for your two boys. I love that. This should go into her bio. What do you reckon, friends?
100%.
But that is Ghar Ghar Ki Kahani, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Thankless job. Thankless job. But look, super excited to have you here.
Thank you.
Now, I know that you've been in the public space and a lot of us know a lot about you already. But I'm sure there are bits and pieces we don't know. So take us back to your childhood and tell us a little bit about that time.
Wow, childhood was a very beautiful memory, and I really hope that childhood should have continued and must have continued in my life especially. As a girl growing in Delhi, I went to Manavsali Public School that was in New Rajendra Nagar, but the highlight is my skating, my passion for skating.
Oh.
So I did used to do roller skating, and then my little brother got hurt, because of which, as you know, tradition and things that parents का क्या होता है, एक बच्चे को चोट लगी दूसरा बच्चा भी वो एक्टिविटी नहीं करेगा. So I got taken away. I got taken away from rollerblading, but having said that, I still kept sailing through and rollerblading through my life. But the highlight of my childhood was every night before going to bed, my dad used to tell us a story. And I used to love those stories, because at times Daddy used to forget that he's already repeated the story 2 nights back. And I used to say, no, Papa, you've already told us this one. And poor thing, half asleep, after a long day's job, he used to sit down. Okay, let me think of another story. So generally, he used to pick up stories from the religious books, from the mythology and the stories that have passed on from the generations. So that is something that I really, really cherished in my childhood. And the Sundays, oh my God, Sunday morning breakfast. That was fantastic. Mama used to cook in the kitchen, and I used to help her. And practically it was like an open kitchen for everyone who was visiting us. Sunday sort of kitchen never closed. So someone is coming, visiting us, they used to have breakfast. If it was lunchtime, they used to share the lunch. And it was It's beautiful. So childhood was amazing, special.
Do you like cooking as well?
I do love cooking when I have time, and I'm just making excuses because I don't have time. So I don't cook very often.
And this storytelling, which you excel at as well, do you think that talent was born out of all the stories you heard in your childhood?
I suppose so, because generally what I feel is that kids and people, as we grow up, we grow up more learning from our families, our parents. It goes more into our heads, and the rate of retention of those things is much higher when it is told in a very story-like fashion. I mean, like, imagine history being told or taught to you with, okay, in 1857 this happened, 1942 this happened, and you have to just rectify that, like memorize it, instead of someone actually sharing that as a story with you. Oh, you know, this happened, and then this incident was in 1857, and you were like, wow.
Yeah.
And trust me, I had a very good history teacher in my year 9. I loved her, the storytelling, and that kept on going.
I think history is one of those subjects which, unless you use the form of storytelling, it can become very dry. So if you've got the right teacher, you know, that's a blessing.
Absolutely. And you know, going back to what you said, to have the right teacher, to have that passionate teacher, that's where I got my passion for teaching as a profession. I had a fabulous teacher as my English teacher, Miss Tanu. I still remember her.
So she's watching the show, or any of her family watching, big shout out.
Absolutely. And Tanu ma'am, as we used to call her, she was an amazing teacher. She used to come to school with a big smile and sharing her experiences with the classroom, and we just loved her company. And that's where I felt I wanted to be a teacher, a high school teacher.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. And this is something, just off the cuff, I wanted to ask you. Did you ever think in childhood that you would become a politician someday?
Oh, never. Never ever. Did that come out too loud?
Did it not even cross your mind?
No. Although I was a bit of a rebel in myself, challenging the norms of society, challenging the things that went around and were quite questionable, and I used to question them loud and clear. So I wanted to be an IAS officer in India.
Oh, wow.
And my dad said to me, you better pick another profession or choice of profession, because you are too black and white, too straightforward to be an IAS officer. But let me put it this way, hats off to all the IAS officers who have taken India to another level as of today.
That's awesome. And before we dive into our very chatpata topics that we've got lined up for today, just another very quick impromptu question. I'm sure a lot of our viewers are being inspired by you and your journey. Let's say they want to also follow your footsteps and go into politics someday. Is there anything you'd like to say to them? Any piece of advice to aspiring politicians? What is something you've learned from your journey that they need to also keep in mind?
Absolutely. Firstly, if ever you want to be as a politician or choose this pathway or be a career politician, it has to be very clear what is your purpose to be in this community space. The purpose, why, the question why needs to be answered, and what you want to achieve out of it. So if you have your mindset for the community, of the community, and by the community, then this is the profession for you. There will be no time for you yourself, and there will be no privacy. So if you are thinking, oh my God, I can be a professional politician during the day, 9 to 5, and then still have my privacy. No, you are for the people, by the people, and of the people. So put that privacy to one side, because you need to let people come into your life. And of course you want to be popular. So what are we talking about privacy? I don't want that.
Yeah.
It is very important that you understand that.
Very important.
So I love what I do, and I love the passion and emotion that I have received till date and ongoing from the community, far and wide. I'm just so overwhelmed and very thankful.
The community does love you.
Thank you.
So we're going to get started. Having said that, I think your mic has switched off. Can you just give it to me? I'm going to switch it back on. We want your audio to be.
I want to be heard.
We want your audio to be absolutely. There we go. Clip it back.
Thank you.
The joys of technology in the digital world. All right, friends. Now we have got some very interesting topics, which is something you've all come to expect from Sydney Social Life, and you all know that Reena is a very articulate speaker. So we've picked out some really interesting topics that a lot of you will resonate with, and you'll actually be grateful to Reena for bringing them to the fore. So Reena, high five, we're getting started.
Let's get started.
All right, so you've been a high school teacher in Sydney, like I just read out, and now you're a politician. Tell us a little bit about how you view the world through this dual lens of education and politics.
Wow, as a high school teacher, I had a classroom full of students and their excitement and their initial intention of learning. And then they are looking at you. Imagine one person, one teacher standing in front of the classroom, looking at 25 pair of eyes. So you are a pair of eyes looking at them, whereas they are all observing you and wanting to know what you have to offer. Trust me, politics is no different. The classroom walls have just disappeared. It is a bigger space where your community is looking towards you and asking and waiting for you to show them what you have to offer. So my journey from a high school teacher to politics was as simple and as smooth as moving from one frame of teaching into a bigger sphere of teaching and learning. So as I grow into this whole politics sphere, I have seen what are the spaces or what are the voids which need to be covered. I personally feel as the education system in Australia, we need to work a bit more harder, but a bit more intense and a bit more with the system to educate our current and future generations to come. And that void, sometimes I have a sense that generally people feel that sending kids to school is just enough. Send them to school, get the teachers to do all the work, and that's it. But as parents, I can vouch for it that the biggest piece of education is happening right there in your household. Your household, your home, where kids are looking at parents and wanting to learn what kind of citizens they will be in future. That education, that system has to work parallel with our formal education system. Now also I would like to say thank you to technology, thank you to iPhone, thank you to everything that is coming into our lounge rooms. But then again, please don't become slaves to them.
It's a double-edged sword, isn't it?
It is, it is. Just sharing something, the other week I had this student come up and wanting to go for work experience, and I said, okay, you have to write a letter to request for that work experience. And I felt so sad and so sorry. The person had no idea how to write a letter. No clue. There was no formal beginning, no body, no ending, no request, nothing over there. And no sharing of information, what he wanted to achieve or what he wanted to get out of that work experience. Again, that why factor was missing. So what I feel is that the education system, the formal education system, plus what we are sharing at our household, in our homes, that education has to work in sync, in line with each other.
True.
And culturally, we are very, very focused on education, the formal piece of education. So it has to be complemented with what parents are doing. I mean, let's face it, when I became a mom for the first time, like I have 2 boys, and I felt, oh my God, there's no book of
prepare you for it.
to prepare you for it and how to become a mom. So who do you go to? You go to your elders in the family, ask them for help, ask them what to do, how to do. Yes, there will be some pieces of information. Doctors will teach you, nurses will teach you. But then again, there's no rule book. So there are a couple of things which we really need to do as a family unit. And I personally believe family unit is the first and the biggest safety net for an individual.
Absolutely, and like they say, the school of hard knocks, which is life itself, right? So when you finish your formal schooling, you go out into the school of hard knocks. That's when life really becomes tough, and that's where what you said is having that right foundation right from your home life, early childhood, comes in good stead.
Exactly. Like we have our young generation on a daily basis going out there to work in the workforce, contribute, and become young adults. They have to understand that as they grow up, they will be emulating their mothers. Girls will want to become, wives and see how motherhood is. They will learn from their mothers what a mother should be like. Similarly, boys will learn from their fathers what fatherhood is like and how does a father act or do or carry out his role and responsibility in a family.
Correct.
So that emulation, that copying and that learning is happening right there in your homes. So yes, as a migrant, I've realized that with our community and with the growing migrant population, we are working very hard. We all are working towards that fruit of success, living the Australian dream, but at the same time, we have to work within the family as well.
So a lot of people watching us will be having school-going kids, uni-going kids. So let's talk, what's one piece of advice through this point that you just covered? What should we tell parents to look out for when we say that the education we are also responsible for providing that at home? What's one key takeaway you'd like the parents listening to have?
Look, I suppose everyone and every parent would have their own ways of family life and how they function in the family and how they have learned from their families, their parents, how to function that. So probably I'm not telling anything new to them, but what I would like to share is what I would like to see in my family and what we try to achieve on a daily basis is some ground home rules. And those home rules have come from our families, from my husband's family, from my parents, from his parents, and we both, when we came together as a unit to build our own family, we have put those rules in place. So for example, a weekly dinner, sitting down and having that one meal together. Because my elder son has now grown up and he works in the afternoons, late shift, so probably when he leaves for work, we don't have that dinner ritual every night now.
True.
But that weekly, once a week dinner, Sunday morning breakfast, that is very important. I mean, like, that is the time when you share your experiences, learn from each other, and talk to each other, other than texting. That groups of family groups where we are texting and sharing. Oh, mom, I'm out till 9 tonight. But so my takeaway today, my request would be to have a sit-down meal, to have some ground basic rules, and say, look, this is what our family aligns and identifies with.
Yeah, and every family is
different. That would be a proud thing. Absolutely, 100%.
So, like Reena said, friends, have some ground rules at home and make sure that is something that is carried on as a legacy. It's always important. That is fabulous. I loved your take on this very, very important topic. I just wanted to let people know, don't be scared to leave your comments. Where are all my lovely people who normally say hi? So say hi Nim, hi Reena. Leave your comments, ask your questions, and we will do our best to answer it while it's live. If not, then afterwards, for sure. So, Reena, that brings me to my next topic. Now, this is one of my favorite topics, and I know you are the perfect person to talk about it. It's about what is known as the professional outlook. I'm not even going to give a clue what this is about because I want to hear your very hilarious take on this. We've been chatting about it offline, and I know you have a few things to share. So let's give our audience a slice of that.
Look, it's I'll share something with you. It is a personal experience. When I moved to Australia and I was looking for a job, so as every migrant does, I went to shop every place. Every place I went and applied for a job, for a position. So yes, the response was overqualified or no experience, no local experience. A catch-22, guys. I mean, like, it's a vicious cycle. I am a migrant. I've just landed in the country a week back. Of course, I don't have a local experience, but I needed a break. So anyway, regardless, I went to takeaway shop, a pizza shop, offices, a hairdresser, you name it, I was there to find a job. And then I got my first break at a checkout. As in those days they used to say, as a checkout chick.
Yes.
Right? So in Lane Cove at Clancy's, it was a retail food store. So I got that position as a checkout person. I was ecstatic. Trust me, I was fabulously happy. I was like, yay, I got a job. So next morning I had to be at the job at 5:30 a.m. to open the store, to mop, to clean, to vacuum, and then set up the cash till. And imagine my manager's horror when she saw me enter the store. Now you have to have a little understanding of the background. So I've migrated from India as a high school teacher, teaching in a high school, moved to Australia. So I have been prepared to work in a certain way, dressed in a certain manner. So I walk into the store with heels, wearing trouser and jacket, a suit, and with definitely some nice jewelry and a hairdo. And she looked at me from head to toe, and she just felt as if I was too overdressed. She goes, "Will you be mopping the floors in those heels, hon?" And I said, "Oops, I clearly have not understood." Now that is one spectrum, but then there is the other spectrum. When there is a professional office job,
Yes.
and a person rocks up with sneakers and black pants, instead of black pants, if they rock up in black, yoga pants for that matter, and no jacket, unfortunately that does not cut it. So professional outlook, what is a professional outlook? It is the way you carry yourself, the way you dress up, and the way you walk around in a certain profession. But at the same time, Nim, I would like to also share, sometimes this is all that needs to be educated to our next generation. Especially when we come to a country which is labeled and known as the Western world.
Yes.
We really need to be mindful of how we are conducting ourselves. And the way we conduct ourselves, it is not just the individual, it is the whole community.
True.
Let's face it, it would be labeled as that person from that diaspora or from that country. So it's very important. Secondly, my dad used to always say, "Beta, aapki izzat aapka kapda karata hai."
बहुत बढ़िया.
The way you dress up, your clothes. Yes, at times we do not have many clothes. We would have, 4 white shirts, 2 black trousers, and 1 jacket. But wash them, iron them, wear them. Wear them with a pride, because what you are, what you wear, is not just what you are inside, but also a pride that you are very proud of yourself, the way you are presenting yourself and conducting yourself. And that also means that you are being very respectful towards the opportunity of the profession,
Yes.
the person who has given you that opportunity. And also same goes when we go to some event. For example, if there's an event and there is your host and hostess, they should be very proud of you. I mean, like, there's a little small things that I picked up as I was growing up. My mum and her sisters, as we call Masi, they were getting ready for a wedding, which was 2 weeks away. So they all said, "Oh, we have to dress up really nice and really nice silk saris." I said, "And Masi, will you be buying a new one?" "Oh, I'll see if I can buy a new one, or if I will wear the one that I have existing. I'll dry clean it and get it ready." Why? Because they need to be seeing the barat as the most beautiful dressed up barat that has come out.
Yeah.
So it is a pride thing, not just for yourself, but also for your host, for your hostess, and also the company or your boss who has given you that opportunity.
We need to take pride in how we present ourselves to the world.
Absolutely.
We were talking offline about this as well, Reena, and just tossing some ideas. And I remember us talking about, let's talk a little bit from the social circle perspective. Ki many times people, when they are hosting apne ghar mein, then there's an expectation that everyone has to dress up. But is it always reciprocated?
Well, it should be. It should be.
But
should
doesn't
be.
always happen, right? Sometimes people don't make that effort.
Exactly. I mean, like, I do understand that that effort is missing, but I think majority of us do that.
Yeah.
But the most important part is that if we are able to, you know, in a very nice, in a very beautiful way, share the experiences and bring our community together and make them feel a part of it.
True.
So if there is someone who is not, I mean, like in our household, it was always the case. Whichever kid was not doing the right thing, the elders used to like just, okay, smack, a little smack on the backside and go, okay, walk in line, okay? Get in line, you know, get in there.
Yes.
Make your community proud, make yourself proud, make your family proud, because trust me, it goes a long way. And like we always got identified by our parents' names, and we actually got even today. Our kids, like my son, he went to a private school and he was not allowed to walk around the shops without his blazer on. So he could not be in half uniform, if that makes sense. Because that is disrespectful towards the uniform. So you cannot just be hanging the tie loose on the shirt and walking around the shops. Just like as a teacher, I used to say, tuck your shirt in.
Once a teacher, always
a teacher. So that is the pride thing, and that is also the respect thing. So it goes hand in hand.
Yes, and I read somewhere a really beautiful quote that wearing the uniform in the right manner is a sign of good manners.
100%.
Right?
100%.
And often we see that those good manners might be lacking because we don't take the uniform seriously enough. And I'd also like to tell our viewers that being well dressed doesn't mean you have to spend inordinate amount of money. It doesn't mean you have to go broke trying to be well dressed. A little bit of creativity, a little bit of thought, and you can. So don't put yourself under pressure to do things that are outside your comfort zone. But like Reena said, it's very important to present yourself in the best manner possible. It is.
Exactly, Nim. And going back, and I just remember one thing, Lane Cove Lane Cove Shopping Center used to have a second-hand shop. And I picked up one of the jackets, a work jacket from there, because at that time when you're a new migrant and you're just going through what to wear and what not to wear, so I picked up one of my formal black jackets, the first one from there.
Absolutely.
So there you go. And then I still go to Target and Big W because I can get some really good bargains over there.
And really, it's about your personality and how you carry it off, right? So, fabulous. Loved that. And we've got some comments here. Hi, Vinita. Vinita Agarwal is saying, thoroughly enjoying today's episode.
Thank you, Vinita.
And hi, Sush. Sush Reddy is saying, amazing show. So, thank you, Sush. All right, let's move on to our last topic for the day. Before we go to our rapid fire, which is, of course, the fun part of it. So, this is about the concept of the Australian Indian. Tell us more.
Australian Indian. I was 24 years old when I moved to Australia. I will always be a person who will be identified and known as Reena Jethi, Australian girl, Australian politician from the Indian diaspora. Now, sometimes people feel that because they have moved to a new land and they are working, living, growing, enjoying being in Australia, it is okay to say something harsh about either of the two countries. I would like to really put my 2 cents worth over there. I am an Australian. I identify myself as an Australian. I am an Australian politician, a teacher who has worked in high school, at Westfield Sports High School in Sydney's West. And I love Australia. This is my country. At the same time, if I hear something bad, something negative, something being spoken which is not so nice about India, I won't feel good about it. And I will never condone it. I will never ever condone it, because at the end of the day, it is just like challenging another country's integrity, sovereignty, and their independence if you are talking bad about some other country. Just like you would not do that about your best friend. So I would feel bad, and I would take a stand that I would not to be a party to it.
Yeah.
And that is what I would really appreciate the community to do. Be proud of who you are. I have been born and brought up who I am, what I am today. I got educated in India. I hold my values, my ethical relevance, my independence, my outlook. All credit goes to the education and the brought up from India.
Yeah. Janam Bhumi and Karam Bhumi.
Exactly.
It's, you can't really choose. I also find nowadays, friends, because I write a lot about this, is on social media, in a lot of Facebook groups particularly, a lot of leading questions are being asked about either countries that are leading people to comment negatively about their Janam Bhumi or their Karam Bhumi. Instead of asking these leading questions that draw people to negativity, ask something positive. Ask something like, hey guys, after arriving in Australia, what was the first thing that made you fall in love with this country? Or what's one beautiful thing you miss about your motherland? Let's ask positive questions, because aajkal, Reena, Facebook is also responsible for spreading exactly this that you're talking about. This dissonance when it comes to, just sticking for one and not the other. So I think we as users of social media also need to be responsible.
Look, social media is a platform. It is just like standing up in front of thousands of people and having a microphone in your hands, right? Yes, you've got a mouth, you've got some ideas, and you've got a voice to use it. But why not to use it towards a positive thing? India-Australia relationships are taking beyond what we are thinking right now. And you will see that, Nim, that these two countries, Australia and India, the partnership, the relationship, the business, the intensity of growth that will go harmoniously together, there will be no limits to it.
Absolutely.
It is just a matter of time, and we are growing rapidly and moving towards that growth and strong relationship rapidly. You have just witnessed Modi ji's visit to Australia, and what a rock star reception. So who can really just turn a blind eye to it? But what my point is that right now, every single Indian diaspora person who has made Australia their homeland of choice, your adopted land of choice, you are fantastic. What your contribution towards Australia is amazing. It is notable. It is worthwhile. Make it count. Make it count, because every day, everyone holds you in such high esteem. Let's put it, and let's face it, Indian diaspora is looked at a very high esteem and high level and a reputation. Look at all the private schools, look at all the selective schools, look at our kids achieving so much more. Now it is time that we actually strengthen that relationship with the power that we have of education, the financial contribution, being a good citizen, being an ethical citizen. And all this adds up.
Absolutely.
So it is fantastic. So remember, everything that you do is a credit to your birth land and to your adopted land.
Absolutely. And both deserve our love and our loyalty.
Absolutely.
Fabulous. Loved it. It's such an important topic, and I'm so glad we managed to put the spotlight on it. Thank you so much for that, Reena. I'm sure a lot of our viewers will also resonate with it. Hi Jayanti. Jayanti says, amazing show. Thank you, Nim and Reena. So a lot of people are enjoying your talk and being inspired by you, which we all are used to being inspired by you, so nothing new there. Time for our rapid fire. Are we ready?
Absolutely. Go for it, Nim.
Alright, firstly, are you a morning person or a night owl?
Oh, I would say both. I slept last night, or actually this morning I should say 3 a.m. and I was up at 5:30.
Oh my goodness. So what do you need a coffee to bring you awake or something?
Not 5:30. It is my time. Between 5 and 5:30 I'm out of bed and rock and roll, ready for the day.
So there's no, I need minimum X number of hours sleep or nothing like that?
No way. You put me to bed, once my job is done, my emails are answered, I've gone through it, and that's it.
Wow.
I sleep.
Wow. Fabulous. Acha, stilettos or flats?
Oh, stilettos, please. I need to be taller. I need to be seen, please. No flats.
What about some Bollywood dancing in stilettos?
Oh, that's okay. I can change the globe and pat the dog, everything at the same time. In stilettos, high heels, I need to be seen.
That is amazing. Acha, now I believe you are somebody who loves ice cream on the coldest of days.
Oh, I love it. How
She
did
loves
you
ice
know?
cream.
I
Just
just,
know.
I can,
I've done my research.
Oh, yum. Oh.
But I also know you like Golgappe,
Ah, yes.
right? So I'm going to ask you to choose. If you had to choose between ice cream or Golgappe and you had to pick one.
No, don't do this, please.
Come on.
Please, no. You cannot put that choice.
You can't choose.
No, I'll have one Golgappa, one spoon of ice cream. One Golgappa, one spoon of. Anyone who has seen me at the Golgappa stall at any of the events, you would have seen me there standing for long hours, and then straight away I go to the ice cream. I love the pan ice cream, by the way.
Oh, yum.
It is yum. It's delicious.
So is there any go-to flavor that's, I know you like your pan flavor, but is there any, like growing up, has there been a standard flavor that you always gravitate towards?
Oh, remember that cassata ice
Oh,
cream?
yeah. I just had that on the last
Oh, cassata ice cream and then mango ice cream. Oh,
Yum.
that is just like I can have it all day. I can have it for breakfast, lunch, dinner, even the midnight snack.
Of
It will
course.
do. Absolutely. 100%.
Midnight snack time, it tastes even better.
It does.
How many of you remember the cassata ice cream?
Yum.
I actually had it the other day when I went to Mumbai, the trip few months ago. I was having it after 10 years, I think, but that taste, everything came back to me.
It does.
Childhood
it does.
memories.
It does.
Yeah, यहाँ पे नहीं मिलता क्या?
No, it does. You can get it over here in one of the Indian shops.
Okay.
They do have the cassata ice cream and also the tutti frutti ice cream. They have those flavors, the pan flavor, the mango flavor. Oh, it's divine. It's divine. Delicious.
Now that we're talking about food, what's one thing that you will always find if you open your fridge?
Kombucha. Kombucha. I love the drink. I can drink kombucha all day.
Really?
All day. And the mango flavor, that is to die for. It's really
I'll
delicious.
have to try it out. That's a good one. Acha, books or movies?
Both movies. Actually, I'm very tight on time, and when I read a book, I at times more like doze off.
Of course.
But I love movies, and I have stack of books. And thank you to my girlfriends who keep presenting me books. I love them. Thank you.
And lastly, what's your idea of a fun Friday night?
Fun Friday night. Are you sure you want to know?
Are we sure? We are sure.
Okay, fun Friday night. If I'm not at any other event, I actually take a big tub of ice cream, sit down, go through it, watching a chick flick.
I like the sound
If
of
at
this.
all it is a Christmas time, and at my home, Christmas comes actually in November, not in December. And every night I have a stack of. And now that we are off DVDs, but still I have a stack of Christmas movie DVDs. We go through every night with ice cream and popcorn, and there's no end to it.
Yum, yum,
And
yum.
the weight gain goes like this, and then I have to come down with all the dieting.
By the way, Vinita Agarwal has said that it has to be Golgappas, right? It's so easy to choose. So she's chosen Golgappas over her ice cream.
Vinita, we need to go out on a Golgappa date. Honestly, I can tell you, I can eat lots and lots of Golgappas.
I
There's
think
no
you'll have a
end to
bus
it.
full of people ready to come with you on this Golgappa trip. So that's fabulous. Well, that brings us very sadly. We could go on forever. Whenever Reena and I get together, I feel like we can chat for an entire lifetime and then some more. But Reena, before we say bye to our lovely viewers and let them go back to their Sunday evening, are there any last words you'd like to say to them?
I would just say I love you a lot, and I love the passion with which you have supported me till date. I know it has been a new thing for me to come into politics, but that is the confidence I got from you all, everyone, and every female who has come up to me and said, Reena, we love you to be there, keep going. And even on those days and even on those moments, and which all of you know, sometimes when you have come back and said to me, that's all right, Reena, keep going, you will get there. And that is what keeps me going as well. Thank you to my girlfriends. Thank you for your support. Thank you to each one of you. But remember, I may be the first few, but I should not be the last.
Love it.
So you have to make sure that we keep going and we keep making our mark. Thank you.
With you as an inspiring role model, Reena, I'm sure that it will not be the last, and continue to inspire our audience, our viewers, our community like you always have. And kudos to you. I mean, you are a how do you say it, filled with energy, and so many people look up to you, and you've been one of those trailblazers, pathfinders. Whenever I think of the words trailblazers, pathfinders, your name is the first one that comes to mind.
Don't worry, check is in the mail for Nim. I told her to speak all this, so that's all right.
No, they all know it comes from the heart. But thank you so much for joining me on Sydney Social Live. आप आए बाहर आई.
क्या बात है, इतनी शायरी करेंगे तो हम बार बार आएंगे.
मेरी उतनी शायरी ही है, लेकिन I had reserved it just for you, right? Thank you so much. Thank you, lovely viewers. I know Sunday is precious, but you all turn up to listen, and we really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Love you.
Love you.
Bye.
Thank you.
See ya.